Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 2 of our marathon cast, day number 2 of, I believe, 4 or 5. I'm LDBL the Summit. I'm joined here by Blaze, and it's time to cast a Virtus Pro Smackdown. For those who didn't hear, NVMI has gotten sponsored. Goblack and Company. They've now got somebody who's helping them pay the bills, and they are VP.Polar. In their debut match as VP.Polar, we'll be providing coverage of them playing against none other than, well, the regular Virtus Pro. At this point, we'll have to see who's the real champs. But the last time these teams faced off at the Game Show League, VP.Polar got the better of them. So looking forward to seeing if they could do it again. And with that being said, I'll welcome in my co-caster, Blaze. Blaze, how you doing?
Doing really well. Looking forward to see the kind of spark of this perhaps heated rivalry between the two teams. They can, of course, skirm together quite a bit under the same flag banner and still feel good about the positive results that both sides get. But yeah, I guess we got the Virtus.Polar and Virtus.Pro Tropical here for the originals. But yeah, already the draft getting underway with some interesting results here. The Wisp and Bane ban shows that they really do respect Goblack's mentality shift for those heroes and what they can accomplish. So they're going to take those off the pool and just look for some death ball play. Death Prophet plus the Centaur War Runner really good at choosing what fights they want to take. If they see the Brewmaster splitting, if they just don't feel comfortable about a situation, they can always stampede out. And otherwise, they can really take the fight to the enemy with the Witchcraft movement speed, with the Stampede movement speed, and they just are looking for that big opening where they get this blink stun, get a quick pick off, and start the fight in a 5v4 sense.
Yeah, and a classic Virtus.Polar form. I'm curious to see. Do we see? I say classic Virtus.Polar, classic Goblack form, I should say. We're gonna see a little Abaddon in this game, a little Treant Protector, perhaps. Do we see the mass heals that he's so known for running? We'll have to wait and find out. But for now, the Scarith Mage Brew was the opening, so good burst potential here. Lots of early game crowd control. And I'm wondering how they're going to follow this one up. The main question I have is, what's DK Phobos going to play? His Centaur was taken away by VP, and generally I've seen him on Centaur or Void. And they do have the Scarith Mage, so if they want to go Void, that would be kind of a natural follow-up at this point.
Sure. The four heroes I've seen him play are the Void, Centaur, Brewmaster, and Puck. And I think that, well, obviously they have the Brewmaster here. Scandal likes to play that too. But I think the Puck would actually be really good. Against the Centaur and Death Prophet, you get the good kind of silence on top of silence with your Skywrath and Puck. And you also get the Dream Coil, which is so good for just kind of rounding up the cattle here as they try to stampede away. You get a little bit of a fence them in, make sure that you can control where they position themselves in the team fight, and you force out BKBs very early against this team. So what they can do now is, with these three heroes already prompting Virtus.Pro's cores to go for BKBs, they can then go for Magic Immunity Piercing Disables, whether it's going to be a Doom pickup, I don't know, but they want something that is going to be threatening in a physical sense.
Yeah, Chronosphere would fit in nice in that regard, but they picked up the Puck here, so it doesn't... I guess they could still run the off-lane Void, run the Puck mid, and the Brewmaster safe lane. We've seen once in a while the safe lane Brew, but it's not particularly common, and I think I've mostly just seen it in a few Chinese Dota games a couple months back. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think it's going to be Scandal Brew mid and the DK Phobos offlane Puck. That seems to make the most sense to me.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. Gyrocopter picked up by VP. This is the Empire go-to carry. There's no silent in this game, but that doesn't matter. Gyro's been a popular pick as of late, in the CIS scene mainly. Has been entirely ignored in every other region, at least as far as I've been able to tell. At this point, just look at the number of Dota games going on a daily basis. Like, even if you did nothing but watch competitive Dota, it's not even possible to watch more than like a fourth or a fifth of the games. Just with like the top 20 to 30 teams in each region, it's already impossible. So, yeah. As we saw earlier today, there was like 4 different Chinese/Southeast Asian tournaments with good teams in all the games going on at once. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe there's been a lot of Gyro in North American Dota, and I've just missed out on it, but I don't think so. Yeah, VP.Polar now, 4th pick. It'll be an Enigma for them. Don't sleep on the late game Enigma, man. We saw this yesterday. It was actually the counter to the Gyrocopter carry, but this Gyro does have a beefy backup of the Death Prophet at his side. A little bit more late game punching power than, say, a Dragonite, which was Silent's partner in that game.
Yeah, still, I mean, the Gyrocopter has a lot of potential right now, going BKB and MKB as core items against Brewmaster, Skywrath, and Puck, but the Enigma is a little bit of a different story. Gyrocopter's range is going to become an issue here, where essentially he's going to try to go to the closest target and just flak off of him, but the Enigma you get too close to him and you're going to be caught. And they only have the one silence, the one stun that's very close proximity, and then the homing missile, which we don't often see. Like cold feet, homing missile, they're kind of non-factors. And when it comes to the early cancel on the black hole, and they're probably going to pick up something else that'll work in that role. I'm actually curious if they want to go for something like a silencer. That's one thing that we have seen them pick up. It wasn't recent, but it was a combo of Centaur and Silencer where they go Stampede and Global at the same time, and they just run over their opponents while they have no chance to respond. But with the AA pick, perhaps not. It doesn't really fit well with that hero as far as their early game presence. And yeah, they're going to ban out the Rubik here, which I think would have been a pretty smart hero to pick up for VP.
5th pick now coming out, and we'll see what it is soon. But yeah, I'm with you. Some sort of good initiator, and I don't know. It's a little bit of punching power would be nice here. We'll see. For VP, I'm still feeling like they don't have too much reliable lockdown. Like you've got Centaur, but it's a pretty small AoE to land a stomp, and
yeah,
hitting more than 1 or 2 heroes is it does happen, but it's not really something you want to pin your draft on. So I don't know what they go for at this point. There's not much setup for the Ancient Apparition Cold Feet that you were talking about, and maybe they just kind of scrap that idea. And, well, I don't know. Getting a support this late, it really is a thin pool. Like, Mirana's been at first phase, then all those great setups for the Ancient Apparition have been removed, and honestly, we don't see teams pick their supports this late very often. Like, generally it's cores that come off the board as a 5th pick because there's very few supports left.
And that's what Polar are looking at right now.
There's still things like Earthshaker, which might be an option here. There's Sand Cane for Virtus Pro. But yeah, Polar are going to run the Lifestealer here. So
very cool.
How do they lane this one?
Oh, it's going to be Lifestealer in the safe lane with Enigma jungling and Skyrest supporting him. Maybe roaming to help Puck a little bit versus the Death Prophet, but Puck should be okay there. Or wait, I still like the Brewmaster versus the DP. More so. It really depends on what DK Phobos is more comfortable playing, because they could do the Puck offlane or the Brew offlane and it'd be fine. But I think the main thing is they're going to try to get a lot of farm on the Puck for the Infest Bomb. I guess you could Infest Bomb the Brewmaster. It's just something that you don't really think of usually. Beyond that, Virtus Pro, they've got a decent response to the Feast and that aspect of the sustain of the Lifestealer, but they're not going to be able to really combo him. The Rage is faster by far than the Hoof Stomp, and yeah, they're going to lack control quite a bit. So they're the ones that are kind of needing the BKB Piercing Disable now. Yeah,
there's like a Doom out there, which would be great. Problem is, well, there is an Enigma on the enemy team. Maybe they just go say, you know what, screw it. We need more lockdown for lifesteal. Let's just go greedy, get a Doom.
I'd say Batrider jungle would be about on point with the tempo that you're talking about, but it might be a little bit better with the fact that it has like Flame Break for the Black Hole while still lassoing like the Brew or the Lifestealer. But Doom's fine. Definitely is. It's just they're going to have to make sure they use their Stampede really carefully there.
Yeah, that's true. And it is another melee hero, and they tend to clump. I still consider Gyro basically a melee hero in team fights, because he's got to hit someone, and if he gets close to that one hero, then he's generally grouped up with his team, which is where the black holes can be devastating. But go Venge, so VP go kind of a different direction. Swap will be nice to somewhat deal with lifesteal. It gives them some Roche potential with the Death Prophet, gives them setup for the Ancient Apparition Cold Feet. Main downside is not a ton of direct teamfight control, and they still don't really have stuns for the Lifestealer, but hey, Death Prophet, Yule, Stampede, if they time it just right, VP might be able to dodge the bullet.
Yeah, that's the big thing. The swap to control the black hole is going to enable them to deal with the 5-on-5s decently. It's no Rubik as far as like being able to turn fights, but it can prevent the most disastrous possible circumstances from happening. It could be a bailout maneuver against the Skyreth Mages, Mystic Flares as well, if necessary. So I like the pick. I think it's very strong, and it's going to be making it more difficult for Lifestealer to stay on his targets, but even still, they're going to have to play this one very carefully, execute to a T, because there is just kind of this default, if VP.Polar have ultimates, they win fights, and we've seen what Lil can do with the Enigma, so just that attribute alone, VP.Polar have a really strong draft right here.
And with that, we'll introduce the teams. It's an all-VP showdown. VP.Polar, the new NVMI team, facing off against Virtus Pro themselves. And with that, running through the draft here, we are the players. We've got BZZ is perfect, 633 on the Gyro, Sedoy on the Centaur Windrunner, that puts, or Warrunner, I should say, excuse me. Nexus on the Vengeful Spirit, Jotum, known for his Potom, but not playing that this game. He'll be on the Ancient Apparition. G, probably your solo mid, Death Prophet. And then on the side of VP.Polar, We have Goblak running as the Skywrath Mage. He'll be playing that support role. Illidan will go off lane as the Lifestealer that puts Scandal on the solo mid snowballing puck. Lil will be handling the Enigma. Was sensational yesterday. Let's see if he does it again. And that leaves DK Phobos as your safe lane brew. And with that, it's a smoke from VP. They made their way into the Radiant Jungle, got down a deep Observer Ward, and we need our Dota 2 sound. Yeah, there we go. And the pings come out. They want to set a trap here for anyone moving through this woods. Hoping to find the Enigma more than anything, but Lil is just sitting bottom waiting for deny. They'll block off yet another camp with the sentries. And this one is... I kind of like this block a bit better. Generally, we see teams just content to remove these 3 camps, but the problem is that Enigma can still get a lot out of these 2. But if you just leave him with the big camp, and then you force him to make a really risky move all the way up here, you've effectively put Enigma in a dicey situation. So we may even see him just abandon his own jungle and head towards the top side of the map.
Yeah, and I think they were aware of the pressure that was going to be coming in, because they do have up here Illidan on the off lane, and although he's fine in a 1-versus-1 matchup, if he gets the potential threat of a roaming Enigma to help him out, then he's actually going to have a really favorable matchup against the Centaur here. We'll see how many points he puts in Feast early, how soon he skills it up, because that's going to be important for trading hits with the Centaur, and if he gets like an Orb of Venom and gets a movement speed advantage with Boots and towards Phase, there's actually some real kill potential. Even with just the Lifestealer alone.
Lifestealer crushes Centaur 1v1. It's just if the supports come that he's got to worry about. And Jadam and Nexus are, for the time being, not in range to help. The Stomp's there. Illidan does good harassment here with the open wounds, but that does deplete his mana pool quite a bit. And unable to find the kill, they'll now be up against a full tri-lane. This could go south for them. They do have an Observer Ward to give them vision of this rotation. But if they ever get caught by 1 stun, they're probably giving up kills. So they'll TP him out. He's heading bottom now. And it's going to be DK Phobos who matches up against the tri-lane. He gets a TP scroll, and he'll be heading out real soon.
Yep. I mean, right now it's just going to be Goblak kind of holding and getting some experience from the lane, but they know how much pressure is going to be put out here, even with the pull blocked off by this Observer Ward. So, yeah, he's going to be the one to take the helm here, and they do just kind of go for a little bit musical lanes here. This takes a lot of time, where Ancient Apparition, who really wants to move towards level 6, is just roaming about, swapping back and forth, and in general, they're the ones that are continuing to follow and respond to VP.Polar. They're not the ones that are actually making things happen. So,
and Sadoy is just getting punished in this safe lane right now. Has no salve. He's already been forced to use up quite a bit of his Tango regen, and well, he'll work towards his Tranquil Boots, but he may need some regen ferried. As Enigma, meanwhile, is trying to punish the rotations. Not only are they not getting the levels out mid lane, jump in from Scandal. Not quite enough to kill FG yet. He'll phase shift to dodge a tower shot, removing the aggro, and also doing quite a bit of damage. As Goblak will head back top, but yeah, these supports have made a big journey, and still both level 1. It's not just the Ancient Apparition that needs his levels, it's the Venge as well. And she's not really getting them now. They'll try and contest Lil, but they don't have vision of him, and they don't know exactly where this Enigma is. Now moving towards him closely, though. He was actually up on the high ground.
Could get a courier snipe. Watch the Drodo. The courier actually just came out on the lane.
No, they didn't see it. They're looking for the Enigma. And they're going to see that this camp was partially farmed, but he was actually up on the high ground, so they have no idea where he is now. And yeah, in the end, the courier won't be sniped, and they'll upgrade it soon.
So, yeah, the supports just really haven't accomplished anything, and, I mean, worst case scenario, Illidan has to pop a Rage to get out of a situation with these guys. They've only got the Chilling Touch, the Magic Missile, very obvious projectile, so they can do some damage to him, but right now he's actually okay, as long as he still has enough mana for Rage. And, on top lane, we're going to see Sadoy just kind of counteracted here. DK Phobos, Goblak, it kind of has the same impact as the Lifestealer against him. Obviously, the Brew is going to have better farm, but it just means that the Centaur can't go on the lane. Otherwise, he'll just get slowed and nuked down.
Yeah, and still Lil kind of slow here in the woods, but considering all the early movement from the supports, it's as long as he's not dying, he's okay with that. And Nexus and Jadam just resort to jungling on Avenge and Apparition. There's not a ton else they can do, but this is not how you want these supports to be spending their time. Either pulling or finding kills. That's really where the money's at for them. But well, at that point, I guess you have to say that Lil's getting the much more favorable trade. Sure, it's not the fastest Enigma jungle, but it's a hell of a lot faster than these two. That's for sure. Not even level 2 between the two of them.
Yeah, and he'll always have options. As the wards expire, they don't want to commit more resources to just keep on stacking on these sentry wards. They're gone. He's going to body block the camp. Nice move from Jottam there, but it doesn't change the fact that eventually these creeps will start spawning and he'll be at full force once again. And meanwhile, Virtus Pro, they have lost time, they can't get back. These supports are not going to have any kill potential against the Lifestealer from this point forward if he just picks up Boots of Speed, which he's 50 gold off of.
Yeah, Boots of Speed for him, and if he ever manages to pick up Phase Boots, he can pose a real threat to, like, an Ancient Apparition in particular. Venge has quite higher armor, so not as easy of a kill, but Sedoy is running towards the Dire Courier as Godlike wraps around onto him. Both now flying, and the good news for VP is two of their cores are farming very well. The Gyro, the Death Prophet, both keeping their CS up, so they at least have that going their way. Yet I still feel like they're going to need some sort of comeback mechanic, be it a Roshan sneak, be it a big team fight when the Centaur gets level 6. Because else, if this just stays static, they're getting out-farmed pretty heavily in terms of levels. Still level 1 on the Ancient Apparition and only level 2 on the Venge.
And like, what is a level 1 Ancient Apparition going to really accomplish? Right now, they've been looking for the First Blood for 5 minutes now. They still haven't found it. They could roam and try to harass the Enigma, but he's got the Eidolons in a good position.
He can actually like turn on them if they're not careful. Coil mid lane. They go in on G. Skywrath Mage is going to follow this up with Concussive Shot. The nukes coming forth. The Orb connecting. It's an easy First Blood. And still VP just... This is where that Mirana ban against them is so powerful. It just limits their ability to get things done in the laning stage, which is where Jadam did so much work for them at Game Show League, but they're having no openings.
He finds snipes at heart, so when he gets the ulti, the Ice Blast, I have high expectations for his movement prediction skills there, but until he reaches that point, he's just wasting his time, and he's not a Mirana. It's a very fair point that like there's no way that they can follow it up. Just Magic Missile, Cold Feet, it's not going to be enough. Maybe if this Gyro was going for like a homing missile build, but of course he's up against the Lifestealer who can just nullify that. So, I don't know. There is not really a place for the Ancient Apparition down on bottom lane. I almost wish he had just kind of sentryed his pole camp and gone up top to help the Centaur. I don't really know.
Yeah, it's actually surprising they haven't just done that. Sure, Brewmaster's probably a tough kill for them as long as he's got this ward up, but at the very least, they can get some levels, whereas right now they're just getting nothing accomplished. They're not really keeping Lifestealer down. He's level 5. They're not putting any pressure on the mid lane. Scandal's snowballing. He's already 3k net worth. His Blink Dagger will be coming relatively quickly now as he's already completed the power treads. And they're not shutting down Lil too much on the Enigma. I mean, he's slow, but that's just from the ward placements earlier. It's not from them actually ganking him. Yeah. Overall, these supports have been quite ineffective for VP.
Lil's been really good with the micro, though. Like, he always has an Eidolon scouting behind him, making sure they don't come in from a flank, and they've just never found an opening on that position. So that's been pretty good. Now we do see the call down is available on 633. And he's actually going to be going for an Aquila as well.
They're going to mid again. Sad times for G. Invis pop by Scandal. He really just wants the bottle charges. And he needs one more nuke to get this kill. Malefice, the follow-ups there from the Enigma. And down goes G again.
Yeah.
Often has carried this team with his Tinker and to some extent with his Death Prophet as well. But yeah, what can you do? I mean, if these supports were there, they'd probably just be dying as well anyway. So.
Yeah, so if they can't help mid and they can't gank bottom, I mean, where really do they find their home? Right now, they're level 3, 1/1/1 build on the Ancient Apparition, but it's not like they have a push lineup, even with the Aquila. Like, they have Wave of Terror, and they have the Ring of Aquila on now. It's like,
and they have Death Prophet, but it's a Death Prophet who's dying off bottom lane. Jump in from Nexus. Illidan didn't get off his rage in time. Now the Stampede is used as BZZ is in pursuit. He'll call down. This will connect on Godlike once, and then plinks him down with one more auto attack. The trade might be there for DK Phobos, though. He's got his boots up. Jadam doesn't. No boots on the Ancient Apparition. He's 17 gold short. Will he at least get to buy them before dying? If Phobos gets off a stop... No, he doesn't! He gets off nothing! No clap. No ulti. The stun too strong. Goes down to a full rocket barrage. That was much needed, man. That is a big kill. Level 4, Jadam will crack now. He gets his boots as well. Nexus up to level 4. They just salvaged their laning stage with that kill right there. That completely turns things around for VP.
Just a little aggressive, and obviously a lot of damage coming out from the Gyrocopter who maxed his rocket barrage. Sometimes there's a lot of Gyrocopter players who prioritize points and stats over some skills. And like, I've even seen the 1 rocket barrage and the 0 homing missile, and then only flat cannon stats from their build. And it's interesting, but in this case, getting the early burst damage is what's enabling them to stay in these early skirmishes. But Ancient Apparition will, in the end, make his long way back up to top lane. Doesn't have any much mana to work with, but he just wants that level 6. So pulling the creep wave away, DK Phobos and Lil, they're kind of at a loss until they find an opening. They don't have the way to close the gap easily, and looks like both sides will see one another.
Yeah, there was a hill ward mid lane, but that one got dewarded. So currently, G, who's already been playing in the dark, is continuing to do so top lane. There's a split just for Jotum to support H apparition. But they will get him. Cyclone is also online. They'll throw Sidoi up in the air, and I'm not sure that they'll continue pursuit. Pretty hard to get in that close, and they did not have mana for a black hole. So they'll back off in the end, but yeah, this is G continuing to just be sad. Like, he at least had a Hill Ward to give him some vision and maybe scout out these ganks, but even that's denied to him. He's still keeping up in CS, though. Actually now leading the puck. Stun on the Goblak. It's a long way for Nexus to go, and he's going to try to get the Stampede damage off here. He will. Rocket Barrage follows this up, and Goblak ends up going down again. They've really started to punish this guy with Mage off on his own, while meanwhile on the top lane, Sidoi pressured a bit by Lil, but they can't fully dive in. And now Scandal arrives with a double damage, and he's got his full combination of spells, needs the phase shift, dodges the first rocket. Beautifully done by Scandal. Still being pursued up by the Gyrocopter. I think he goes down here regardless. Orbing. Now jaunting out. Oh, Coil just broke. But that was damn
beautifully
close.
played by Scandal. There's no other way he could have gotten out of that situation than using those skills in the exact order he did and the exact timing he did.
Yeah, and that's a level 1 phase shift. Call down. It's such an unusual spell to even see in games nowadays. Like, we just don't see gyro picks that much. So well timed there in the phase shift, and he jaunted just the right amount away. Not too far, but didn't wait too long either. If he had waited a little bit longer to get more distance, would have died to that last auto attack. So, like you said, perfectly played.
Illidan's got the possible magic missile heading his way, but he's got the rage ready, and don't think he'll be caught out by that one. And he's actually getting some good levels now. Like, he was kind of just only soaking up experience on the bottom lane for quite some time, but he's built up the phase boots. He's got coming out in the courier a nice little casual bracer to go into the drums of endurance, and yeah, he's going to be able to really build up a strong fighting form very early on. Not much as far as solo kill potential, because the Gyrocopter is so quick on his feet as well, but he's definitely going to be able to join the fights within the next few minutes.
And this, to me, is the key for VP. They've gotten decent experience. They're still trailing, of course, but it's not as bad as it was earlier. But the real key is this medallion. Can they sneak a Roche? Scandal made his way top and does drop down an Observer Ward here, just so they can have some vision on Sidoi if he rotates to the jungle. But I am looking at VP and thinking, this Death Prophet needs an Aegis real bad. Like, G's just... He's died way too much. At this point in the game, you often see players with completed drums, at least one big component for Yules, but he's got nothing besides the basics.
I think it would be a mistake to go for the Roche Pit without level 6 on the A, though. There's just so much utility in that. They're going to actually go for the split here onto Gyro, but the Stampede. It's a pretty well countermeasure. Look at that boulder fly.
Long-range boulder toss. He used Rage extremely early. Now Open Wounds to follow up, and they continue to this dive onto BZZ. Can they finish him off in time? He's kept alive. The cooldown slow. Piercing magic immunity, preventing the easy kill, but they finally run him down. Meanwhile, while that was happening, they got a black hole on 2, pulling them back in. These supports for VP are melting to the onslaught of nuke damage. Jotum will fall as well. It's 3 down, while Sidoi just kind of rolls through the lane. He's like, well... A lot of good people, a lot of good men died this day. Not much I can do about it.
Yeah, and now there's just a huge item advantage for VP.Polar. I mean, obviously the Blink Dagger coming out for DK Phobos instead of the Centaur, Sidoi, was absolutely immense in that fight because he was able to get in that position. But beyond that, now they have the mechanism where VP do not. And yeah, the medallion's nice, but I don't even know if they're going to get a chance to use it on Roche or on maybe a kill on the Lifestealer within the next few minutes. They have to start collaborating, working together, and take advantage of the fact that the 2 big ultis are on CD.
Do they look to force the issue? It seems like they want to. VZZ's down the bottom lane. He's got his Ogre Club working towards an early BKB. So we're not going to see the build that Silent prefers, which is never a BK Riosh. It's always like an early Yasha, sometimes even gets drums. Tries to save the BKB more for the mid game, where the big deciding team fights often happen. But this is going to be a more defensive build by VZZ, and there is still some control for him. There's still a black hole to worry about. There's still the Midnight Pulse, and well, that's assuming that he doesn't just get chain stunned down in these team fights. So yeah, we'll see. But this will give them a strong mid game bump if they want to take a Roche fight.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't pressure the tier 1 in the mid lane more while they were all down bottom, because it is 500 HP left on that tier 1 tower mid. But without control over that lane, without control over anything, the Roche is going to be engaged upon, and it's going to go down very quickly. With the Spirits, with the Wave of Terror, and with the Medallion of Courage, they don't have a chance to contest.
Yeah, that's like a 15-second Roche. I mean, what do? You just have to constantly be scouting it. But they don't really have the right lineup for that. Eidolons are pretty damn slow, and they're not really the best units to scout it out, and you don't have any particular abilities for it. Orb from Puck, I suppose, but
yeah,
that's kind of a gimme for VP. It's just the way their draft is constructed. The question is if this Aegis will actually make the difference for them. A second life on a hero like Gyro, if he gets off his full flak and his cooldown, then second life is not really that strong, and VP are now looking to make their move. They'll sentry on the high ground just to make sure there's no dire vision of this, and orbing forward to clear out the wave. Scandal will begin to move towards the dire tier 1, and they'll siege it. There's a
Illidan is invested inside DK Phobos. They're looking for a big clap opening here. The Infest Bomb should be able to kill off G very quickly, and he doesn't have the Aegis.
Oh, but the disengage. No, not going to be enough. As the Puck Dream close there. G, I thought he would get the Aegis, but he didn't, and actually went to the Gyrocopter, and this means he's instantly down for the count. Nice. They mech in the middle of the ultimate from the H Apparition. Very ineffective usage of the mech. And I don't know if it would have mattered as BZZ was still in position to kill off a few. But now the Bruce Split will try to turn this. Boulder Toss, oh, it was cooling down. BZZ fighting it out against 2 heroes. But a Raged Lifestealer tries to finish him off. Maleficent stun, dropping him low. Clap will kill him off. And goes down as Jotum will be next. It's 5 dead. They have an Aegis. But BZZ can't do anything alone. A full wipe by VP.Polar. It looked like it might go south when Enigma completely failed on his mech. But didn't matter.
Only got the +2 armor ore out of it, but that's about it.
And they didn't even have Black Hole for that fight.
Yep, they did not.
They still wiped them.
Well, the big deal for 63 was the fact that he didn't have a BKB available. It's now coming out on the Courier, but if that fight happened a minute later, he would have been able to be a lot more confident in his movements there. He would have been able to respond. He would have been able to be active. But instead, he was kind of just hiding under the tower. He didn't even start in the fight because they were engaging on the Death Prophet. And yeah, they just kind of weren't really prepared for that engagement.
Concussive shot onto BZZ, but he's now got BKB, and he's going to turn this one around with the call down coming through. Flat Cannon follow-up, forcing Godblack deep behind the tower, nearly finishing him off solo. Doesn't get the kill on him, but they will finish off the Puck. Now Godblack tries to turn this with the Mystic Flare, but it's dodged away nicely, and tries to, TP's out. TP's out right as the killing Crypt Swarm was coming in, while Lil tries to do it all alone. He gets stunned. Follow-up on the Centaur Stomp, and easily brought down. A nice turn of events for VP, as the Polar squad, lacking the Bruce Split, just couldn't take a good fight.
Yeah, these Ice Blasts are really hammering home from Jotum now. The first one was obviously extremely powerful, but that second one actually was what got the kill on Scandal after BZZ put him really low with that Flat Cannon. So really nice for them to be able to pick that up, and shattering away the opposition is how they need to take these fights, because there are some really squishy heroes involved. 800 HP on the Skywrath Mage, only 834 on the Puck, since Scandal is currently running Intelligence Treads. And yeah, if they can just bring those down really quickly, then it's going to be very, very problematic. The Enigma does have a Blink Dagger now, does have that Black Hole, as we've mentioned, but I don't know. The Soul Ring and the Mechanism are dangerous tools to play around with when these Ice Blasts are just hitting their mark every single time.
Yeah, last thing you want to be doing if you're Lil is popping your Soul Ring in the middle of that, or blowing your mech at an inopportune time, but he's not really tanky enough to hold the mech forever. Like, in that fight, if he had held it, which is what you should do, obviously, I don't think it would have mattered. They still would have lost the 2 supports, and they still end up getting a wipe in the mid-fight, so it worked out okay, but this is where you'd love to get a BKB next on Lil. There's not... Sure, there's still ways to cancel Black Hole, but just to make sure he lives long enough to wait for the right opportunity to use it, rather than being forced to blow his mech or Black Hole at the wrong time. We'll see if he goes for that next. Meanwhile, VP are looking for the trade. They've got an ultimate cooling down for G. And VP will take a tier 1, but... Or, sorry, Polar will take a tier 1. Got to keep those names straight. The other VP.
Definitely.
But yeah, VP are not going to force the issue. They don't have the confidence to go in for a tier 2 just yet.
But farm coming out on the Gyrocopter, going to get the Helmlet Dominator, look for something nice to dominate. Generally speaking, as far as stacking agents are concerned, I prefer just a standard lane creep, a ranged one. But there are obviously plenty of different options there. He is going to make his way to the top lane with this, though, so that might be what he opts for. In either case, the ancients are already stacked insanely highly, and they just have to kind of make their way that direction and take advantage of that.
Yeah, just need to bring the Venge in to help him kill those off a bit quicker, who now has the max wave of terror, as well as the Medallion, Blink, Clap, and, well, that's the death of your Ancient Apparition. It's a pretty big investment to get this kill, using the Bruce Split, and it's not in position for any other objectives. And I wonder what VP can do about that. No Roshan to take.
It's the second time that he's used a split that way. Do you think that's a valuable way to bring it down? Or do you think the Ancient Apparition's, unless he's nearing the Aghanim Scepter, isn't really that worthwhile?
If Roche was up, I would say that's a terrible decision. But they know Roche isn't going to respawn, so...
Okay.
I think that's the biggest potential loss. Well, if they force a fight here bottom lane, it might become questionable. But the Ice Blast coming in. We'll hit on 3.
Look at that Enigma.
Got Black on the retreat out. Sidoi trying to blink, but he can't for now. He's got his ultimate ready, though. He might just chase Godblack out. I think he's going to pop the Stampede momentarily. Silence one, and he comes roaring in. Stomp onto Godblack. The slow's there. Double edge to secure the kill. Meanwhile, the more important kill, the Gyrocopter got Black hold.
Lil got the perfect flank off there. They just open wounds right before the Stampede came through. When he was actually about to escape, they went for the Malefice and the Black Hole, and there was just no way for him to get out. Great position for Belil. He was hiding in the tree line over on the eastern side in the fog of war, and they did not see him when they went down the river. So that was just absolutely perfect from him. Obviously, he was looking for like a 3 or 4 man one, but once the Stampede sets everyone loose, it's really hard to corral them from that point forward. So got what he needed. The Gyrocopter goes down, and that's going to be a nice little pick off for them.
Yeah, that's definitely worth it for Polar. They'll be happy about killing off this Gyro, and if it goes towards the late game, then that's where Lifestealer, generally we don't see him much because he doesn't match up well against like the carries du jour, the Death Prophet, the Razor, the Viper. These are probably the 3 big ones that we see most often, or they're certainly in the top 5. And obviously there's also all the team fight control like Void and Doom that go through BKB and Magic Community, but he matches up real well against Gyro. Lifestealer used to be kind of the Gyro counter in the laning stage to some extent, and then especially later on with an Abyssal Blade.
Heals.
Oh, they find Godblack up on the high ground. Was trying to D-ward, and G says, hell no. Hell no. They're chasing that. They've got Stampede. They might go for some additional kills here. No, not going to go on the Lifestealer.
Tower's going to be plenty for them. DK Phobos is looking for an opportunity, but there really isn't one. Jumping in here would be suicidal for not himself, but half his teammates. So yeah, they're just going to let the tier 2 in the mid fall and draw the line on the top lane. Yeah, he's still pursuing his Aghanim Scepter, so about 800 gold off there. But yeah, I kind of feel like the Lifestealer should be working towards an armlet next. He really needs armor in general, because the Medallion of Courage Wave of Terror chews right through that, and that's his one weakness in my opinion. Like right now, he is really lacking effective HP. The armlet can give that to him in short bursts, and that should be enough to take him through the fight. I know it's very dangerous to go up against the Ancient Apparition. It's actually the worst item you can have against AA, but if he's smart about how he uses it and uses the active only when he's not going to be hit by the Ice Blast, then I think there's a lot of value in it.
This Ancient Apparition's just a jerk. They weren't even planning to fight. The whole team was already here. But John was like, you know what? We're not going to fight soon anyway, so I might as well just be an asshole and throw my ult at you. Didn't end up connecting, but the idea was definitely there to be a thorn in their side. And well, on that note, Polar are going to look for a gank opportunity. Scandal infested and smoked up. G would be a great one to bring down. He does have the Yule Scepter, though. They'll need a little more follow-up, and they wait for the right moment. Now the blink and silence holds defensively Yules, but still a coil. There's a coil here to follow it up. Stampede, it's just enough to get outrange. The coil whiffed. Scandal could have dropped it. He could have dropped it way sooner.
He's full HP now. They can turn this so hard.
And Phobos almost split again, and now he's going to do it, but this time it's to dodge a Centaur stun. Much better use of it, as Lil is pursued out, quickly killed off by Jodam's ultimate. Venge thrown up in the air during this time. The BKB from BZZ is punishing the tower knife, killing off a second hero, as Scandal will bite the dust. Now they throw the lifesteal up in the air. They'll drop it back down, straight into a Sidoi stomp. It's a 3-for-1 exchange. And it works out that once again it was a bruise split for an H apparition, but this time with some extra bodies from Polar hitting the deck.
Definitely. The hesitation from Scandal on the Dream Coil there was what
cost them.
Should have
just coiled, man. Should have just coiled.
But the reaction to the Stampede was slow, and then G had that regen room, which just turned the fight 100%. They were far beyond enemy lines. They just had no control over that fight, and now it's going to get even more difficult. Sidoi is going to pick up the Pipe of Insight, Skywrath's impact, Puck's impact, alleviated to some extent, and yeah, it's just going to be so damn hard. We're going to see them rely on Lil more and more.
Oh, this is not good for DK Phobos. No ultimate ready, and he gets caught out by the Yules. Wow. That 50 damage drop preventing his blink, and then the tower picked off, and that goes the way of BZZ, who suddenly sits on a pile of gold, 5,300. Yeah, that first big damage item is almost ready, and well, it's feeling kind of like a butterfly game to me. To me, the only way he dies, Blaze, is really either if he gets Black Hold or if Lifesteal is right-clicking him.
He still wants the MKB against the Brewmaster, even if he's not going to be afflicted by Dark Haze throughout most of the fight. Just the fact that he's attacking an evading target, and the chance that Lifestealer goes for Halberd, I still say MKB first and foremost, and then the Butterfly for sure.
Yeah, looks like he wants the Butterfly first, though. He's already bought the components for it, so...
Gotcha.
Yeah, I guess with when the BKB gets lower, that's where he'll really need an MKB to deal with Drunken Haze. So I'm sure he'll go back for it as his next item, and... could make an argument for picking up either or. But either way, VP.Polar They gotta find the rhythm again, man. Like, after that fight, that's just a bloatier mentality, I think, more than anything. And this time when Goblet goes to D-Ward, he's like, guys, you're all coming with me. I'm tired of dying to these ganks. Damn. And they will all support him in his efforts.
Yeah, the math on Flat Cannon when you're afflicted by Drunken Haze is actually really bad because you actually have to hit with your first attack for your Flat Cannon to even trigger, and then each of those have a chance to miss. So it actually turns into like a squared effect where you have, like, instead of 25% chance, you have closer to like an 8% chance to hit somebody as a subsequent attack if it's the 75%. But it's not that maxed out yet. DK Phobos has 2 points in it. Will be making his way towards 4 as his levels progress. But yeah, for now, the BKB should suffice. He's got the butterfly, and man, is it going to be difficult for the Lifestealer to pin him down.
They'll try and work their way into the pit now. Butterfly online. Lifesteal up on BZZ. He could tank this one, and they'll use the minus armor, the Venge, to bring this one down quickly. They're in position on the side of Polar to fight, but the question is, can they fight? They have Black Hole. They have Split. They got all the tools to engage, except for one man, DK Phobos, who is way too late to this. Yeah, that's a free Aegis. And now VP are on the move. Chasing out Illidan, they're going to stampede forward, and they pop their pipe as Illidan rages and goes into the engagement. BZZ will call down from afar, catching out Goblet, flacking onto everyone. Black Hole's there, but Lil still drops. Nexus came around the trees, stunned him and picked him off. Great play for the Veg to cancel the Black Hole G on the retreat out. Still standing strong. The Wind Panda, not enough to kill him off. The Earth Panda, a long-range boulder. The sticks are going to bait out the dive for the Brew, and he won't end up getting the kill. They've lost 3. It's about to be a 4th. He tries to clap DK Phobos. Late to the party, but not too late for him to go back to the well, says VP. They'll show the new Polar squad his boss and put them in their place. And they now lead by 10k gold, 10k experience.
Absolutely dominated there. The Blink Dagger Vengeful Spirit getting the perfect position. Didn't even have to swap to cancel it out. Later on, when the BKB is finished on the Enigma, the swap will be what breaks it. But there, Nexus just pops his level 1 Magic Missile. Gets the easy cancel, and they turn that around hard. I mean, now G's back to full HP with these spirits still kind of trailing him, and he'll just be able to push out the top lane by himself. Very confident in himself here. And in general, in their team. Like, when you win a fight like that, it's not just a victory in terms of gold, in terms of experience. It's a gigantic morale boost in terms of your reliance on your teammates, your coordination in general. And yeah, they're going to move forward just feeling so good about the next fight and the next fight and the next fight.
Yeah, that's we got this one, boys. This is our game now. That's kind of the feeling after you take an engagement like that. And it's very difficult for Lil on the Enigma at this point. We saw his hero Black Holes in the match yesterday, but the difference was that he didn't really have as many ways to cancel it. And now Scandal, he wanted to defend his tower. Blink Stop was there. He wasn't quick enough on the phase shift. He'll end up going down, and now BZZ chases out. Well, Illidan will open wounds and try to slow down the pursuit. The Flat Cannon still kills him off. Drunken Haze now thrown out on BZZ, but it's already too late. Stampede, Blink Stop, straight onto Lil goes Sonoy, kills him off, and then the follow-up. They're right-clicking these heroes down. They're not even using Exorcism, which still cools down. Nexus swapped DK Phobos in, but he immediately blinks out. Still, they've lost 4. And this is pretty much it. It seems like VP of critical mass. Ghosts in the base. The Venge here to help them right-click faster. And suddenly, what was a dead-even game 15 minutes ago? Not even. More like 8-9 minutes ago. Excuse me, reading the graph wrong. Yeah, 8-9 minutes ago. Now a 15, 60k gold lead. And they're just killing him off at the base. Well, Jadam will die in the Itched Apparition, but what does it matter? They've taken the bigger objective here. They'll lose their first lane of Rax, and they'll even go for a 2-for. G rotating towards mid, but he won't have the damage to kill this off with Exorcism. He'll bring the tower down, but then the Exorcism will end.
So, going back to the first 5 minutes of this game, where essentially the only thing that went right for them was that 633 was getting some last hits. Everything else, the support's okay, we go.
Now, BKB from BZZ turns, stands his ground, and works on Illidan, who just doesn't have the damage. This is an underfarmed, underpowered Lifestealer, getting absolutely annihilated from the high ground by BZZ, who still stands strong, finally losing his Aegis. The Mystic Flare was attempted for him, but they didn't count on BZZ, just saying, you know what, screw it. I'm a flying helicopter, bitches. What are you going to do about it? He'll charge forward onto DK Phobos. Stomp will kill him off. And BZZ will take the Sega Lane of Rax. This is going to be it. The Polar squad getting spanked by the veteran VP lineup in their debut match. Probably not what the marketing guys were hoping for when they built this one.
Okay. One team winning one way or another. Team Tropical or whatever is pulling ahead here. But yeah, Gyrocopter's bringing this team into the industrial era, and it is not looking good for the... I mean, look at that Lifestealer's farm. He has a third of BZZ's net worth. It's just absolutely absurd.
Open wounds on Nexus. That's it. That's all she wrote. Black hole, but they're too tanky, man. They're too tanky. They just turn and kill him off after the hole. It was
so beautiful, but so worthless.
Yeah, you wanted to believe, man. It was far too late for believing. And on that note, VP take a much-needed win here in Starladder Europe play. And with this game ending, we'll actually take a quick look at our grid and just see where does this put VP as we move towards the second half of the group stage. They're 3-0 after this win. NVMI, now 3-4. They had a great performance in Game Show League and did well against their CIS brethren, but in Starladder, they have been kind of middling as far as their performance. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, it was a fairly quick first match, but we've got more coming your way. The next game will be Empire versus Team Tinker. Big match for both teams, especially Tinker, who with a win there, they'd be 10-1. They could lose out and still be 10-5, which I think is almost guaranteed to go to the playoffs. It's got to be close anyway, as there's plenty of opportunities for these other teams below them to lose along the way. So with that being said, I'm LD. He's Blaze. You can follow him at BlazeCasty on Twitter, myself at LD Dota on Twitter. We'll return in just a few moments' time for Tinker versus Empire. Stay with us. You're watching Beyond the Summit.